Let me tell y'all one thing. Your family will embarrass you, okay? Give them a chance. All the isms and the schisms and whatever issues they have gonna come out on your wedding day. Make sure you know who getting that mic. Please make sure you know who getting that mic. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Hey y'all, it's your girl Jane B, and welcome to seejanereacts. And y'all already know we are reviewing Married at First Sight season 20 in Seattle, episode 2. Now listen, before we even get started, y'all, I'm at about 1,300 subscribers, like 1,330. I'm trying to get to 2,000, okay? The goal is to get to 2,000, 5,000, and beyond. So I'm gonna need you guys to go ahead, hit that subscribe button, okay? It's free. You just press it, you follow me, watch the content. We can stay in touch, okay? But I need your help, okay? So as I'm reviewing these shows, go ahead and join the family and hit that subscribe button, okay? So let's go and review this show. Okay. So this episode, we were introduced to 3 more couples, as well as going over the wedding and receptions for the first 3 that we met on the first episode, okay? But this season is gonna be a doozy because although there was some cute little connections, I saw a lot of red flags. So we're gonna talk about that in a minute, okay? Let's go. First, we're gonna talk about Adam and Marissa. Last we saw Adam and Marissa saw each other and they were shocked. They were like, oh my God, like I know him. Turns out that 2 years ago, Adam saw Marissa at a bar and he went up to her, asked her for her information, and this is what it is. He didn't get a chance to talk to her, and I think he just said the timing just wasn't right. So basically, they did not get a chance to speak. So now 2 years later, and the fact that they recognize each other, but he says he doesn't do that very often. You know, Adam he's hard to read because he has a very stoic face. So you're like, is he excited? Is he happy? You know, he has a very like straight face. So we don't really know what's going on, but they, said their vows. They seem to have, nice vows, and they kissed each other on the lips, and then they left. And they seemed happy once they, walked back down the aisle. I think he was happy, she was happy, and that was pretty much that. Now, I wonder with Adam and Marissa, their love languages, because I guess I am physical touch, so I zone into physical touch, and I noticed when they walked back down the aisle, she was more holding him, but he didn't like reach out to hold her hand. So I'm wondering, and his body language seems very like right here. So I'm wondering if there's any sort of, is he a physical person? I don't get the feeling he is, but again, this is just the beginning. So we're not sure just yet what he's dealing with, but I don't know. He seems a little bit stoic, but let's see. So now we're at the reception, and Leah, who is Marissa's friend, she gets up and she says her toast, and she brings up that mac and cheese again. I said, well, Adam gonna have to address that mac and cheese, because Adam said he not doing no mac and cheese, especially no microwave mac and cheese, because that's not good for your body. That's what he said. So she talked about that mac and cheese again, but again, I guess this is new, and we're still feeling these couples out. So we're still feeling out like how they are, but he was just keeping it real, straight, whatever like that. And then the announcer came in and said, come on, tickle the ivory keys. And they're like, what's that? And it was the piano. So he gets up and he plays, some very two classical numbers. And one of Marissa's bridesmaids just could not stop laughing. We need to know what that was about. I mean, she was dying laughing. She was like, so I was like, what is that about? So I don't know why they were laughing. Was that like, this is corny, or what is he doing, or what is all it is, or I can't believe I'm here? Like, what was it? But anyway, so she was laughing, and Marissa was like, oh, I ain't got no towns. I feel embarrassed. She said, but do you know Pride and Prejudice? Because if you know Pride and Prejudice, we can watch that tonight. He was like, yeah, let's go for it. Okay. I was like, okay. So he's not too stiff. He can watch a movie. So now we're going to move over to Tori and Felipe. Felipe is all in, okay? Because Tori is absolutely stunning. She is absolutely stunning. He is all in. But he strikes me as the type that he's going to be all in regardless. I don't know. That's the feeling I get from him, that, whatever situation he's in, he's going to make it a good time. And he has to be a people person, being a manager. So it's not hard for me to believe that he could just come into any situation and just fall right in line and get with it, especially if it's somebody who looks amazing and that he's interested in, okay? So now Tori's sister, so now they're at the reception, and Tori's sister gets up and does a beautiful toast. And she's basically saying that, Tori has been there for me. She is my best friend. And, she took care of me. And I hope, she could be with someone who takes care of her just as well. And then they gave each other a beautiful embrace. You could tell that they really love and care for each other. And that was so special. And then Philippe's friend, Jeremy, gets up. Now, this is when the family starts. So now his friend is just giving all the tea, the background, what they've been doing. They went to drag shows. They did this, they did that. But at the end, he did bring it together, because I was getting a little scared. I said, here we go. I'm telling you, your friends and family will embarrass you. So he's telling all the tea. He's spilling all the tea. But Felipe didn't seem like he was really stressed out about it. And then at the end, he said, but this is the friend who doesn't have any problems telling me he loves me. You know what I mean? They could do that. They could share love. And then he gets up and he gives a big hug at the end. I said, okay, he redeems himself, because I was a little scared. I was like, what's going on? But then he gives him a hug at the end. And basically, that they're just really great friends. And I thought that was beautiful. And then Natalia, Felipe's sister, gets up, and she basically said, girl, get ready, because he a dancing machine. Okay. He said, I love to dance. And then Tori said, well, I do too. So that's good. At least they have that in common. Okay. So now they're at the reception, and Felipe is dancing with his mom. His mom is so beautiful, and she looks so familiar to me. I don't know who his mother looks like, but she looks so familiar to me. But anyway, they do a beautiful dance, and they're speaking, I believe, in Portuguese, because that's where he's from, Brazil. So they're speaking in their native tongue, and it was just kind words to each other. Also, you could see the embrace between Tori and his mom. She seems like a very warm person. That's what I get from her, that she has a very warm way of being with people, very touchy, very huggy. We love that. So, she gives a hug. She does a beautiful dance with her son that I loved. And now it's time to start dancing. Okay, now I will say, out of everything I've seen so far, their reception seemed really, it had like a real liveliness, a lightness to it. Like they just really was enjoying the moment. That's what I got from them. And they were just having a good time, the dancing, they were just really partying. And you could just tell, it seemed like they just fit in. From what we can see right now, they just seemed like they fit in. They were having a good time. It wasn't a lot of apprehension. She was like, listen, they know each other's hot, okay? So everybody's hot. Everybody's having a good time. They seem like they're really enjoying each other. And so that is going off without a hitch. And now we are back at Beljalie and Mecca's reception. And already the father, Logic, y'all, I had secondhand embarrassment. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was like, you doing too much. Sometimes I wonder, why is it that people wait until funerals or weddings to just make it about them? This is not about you. This is not about you. Now, mind you, the mother ran off, right? And the stepmama ran off. Logic, is it because of you? Because you're doing too much. You're doing too much. And it's so awkward because Beljalie, she's not too much of my husband. She's very much in the moment, and she wants to make it a moment, because you could tell she's feeling Mecca. But that father would give me a red flag. I'd be like, can we move 80 miles from your father, make sure he can, and no internet and no phone, no nothing, he can't get in touch with us, because he was just doing too much. I was so embarrassed. He was killing me. Anyway, child. And the fact that this man is a principal, I need to talk to your teachers and your staff. I need to talk to everybody involved with you to see how you are on a daily basis. Really do. So now Mecca goes in with his friends, and he's like, because I guess in this kind of situation, everybody's feeling unsure. Even if you are the most confident person in the world, if you have someone you are marrying, making a commitment to, who you've never met in your life, you don't know anything about them, you are going to be a little bit, even if you're super secure, you're going to still feel a little way. So Mecca is talking to his friends, and he's like, now listen, what y'all think that meant? She didn't want to kiss, And the friends was like, listen, we could tell she was feeling you, but maybe that's a good thing. And you got to consider the circumstance. She's not just going to be running in there, busting down no slob, tonguing you down. Like, no, She kept it cute, and that was it. But the fact is, if she didn't like you, now I'm adding this part. If she didn't like you, like you would feel when somebody's sort of like, not that interested, but you could tell she was like, oh yes, Lord Jesus, hallelujah. When she first saw him, it's just that was her standard. She was like, and he went, and then he gave her a kiss and a hug, but you could tell that they were feeling it. So I would hope he could tell, but his friends reassured him, like, don't worry, she got you, she likes you. And now we're gonna spend the night together, they're gonna spend the night together, and then you'll take it from there. But right now, like in my point of view, just live in the moment, enjoy the moment, and just go from there. This is the first day, y'all probably haven't even known each other at this point an hour. So just kind of let it play out. So now we're at the reception. Logic, that's Mecca's father. He got Belgely hemmed up in the corner. So, what you think? Sir, you're doing too much. Do you have a girlfriend? Do you have a potential next wife? I'm gonna need you to get with somebody because you are in her face like this. See, that right there, in the face like that, that's first of all a little disrespectful. Like, you just met me. Why are you in my face? Y'all could already see I'm worn out with him. That's why I'm talking about him so much, because he was really, really wearing me out. So now the father, Logic, he gets up and he gives his toast. And again, he's, spilling the tea, spilling the beans. He's talking about, all the mishaps he had. And at the very end of the speech, so mind you, Belgely is like, oh, yo, he is unhinged. And I'm sure that was her trying to be cute, like, your father's off the chain. But she's like, girl, he is unhinged. He is unhinged. And then Mecca was like, oh, God, like, that's my dad, And so now they're going, he's saying all the things. And then right at the end, he said, well, I never thought I would see you get married. At this point, I was listening, but I was halfway checked out because I was embarrassed and I wanted him to stop, to be really, really honest with you. I was just like, he's doing too much. And she was like, oh, my God, he's so unhinged. But then at the end, Mecca came and, piling it. That's my dad. That's my dad. Now, I'm wondering if later on, if his father, how pivotal of a role will his father play throughout their relationship? I'm wondering if there's going to be a time where Belgely gonna have to be like, your father's doing too much. I'm gonna need him to relax and stay out of our business. I'm just wondering if that time will ever come, because I guess he said, listen, I'm about to be on TV. I'm about to be on national TV. This show's a big deal. And I got to get my 10 minutes of fame. I guess that's what he's saying. But the father is handsome, very attractive, but I could already see red flags with him. So anyway, ciao. Then Belgely's mother gets up. She gives a beautiful speech. Belgely starts to cry. Her mother's very jazzy, honey. Those glasses, that hair, that gray hair up in the pompadour. Mother had it going on. She gave a beautiful speech about her daughter, and then she gave very encouraging words to Mecca as well. And that was really beautiful. So now we have Nick and Courtney. Courtney, she works for Oracle. And her parents were former bodybuilders. Mind you, mama, her mother is giving you body, yaddy, yaddy. You could just see, honey, she was giving you, all the all that was going on. Father looked good too. The coaches were discussing, their similarities. You know how they sit down and they do the talks and everything. And we learned that what they like, and both of them are conservative. They have conservative views, but then when they were asking them about their conservative views, nobody knew nothing. So they said, y'all conservative a little bit. Because Courtney didn't even know what happened on January 6th. So I was like, okay, whatever. And she said, well, I do believe that a woman should have a right to choose, but everything else, with finance and everything, I don't know how people couldn't be conservative, that kind of thing. And they asked him to, he said he leans more conservative, but he does have some liberal views. And when they asked him, like, what's your most conservative view? He was clueless too. And then to come to find out that he has been on reality TV. He's been on about 4 or 5 shows. He listed them. He was like, it was a few shows he was on, but he was saying, hopefully his bride doesn't know that about him. And then his friends, he has a diverse group of friends. He has like a good gay friend and his twin brother and the other friend. But most of his people seem like they are part of the reality TV space. That's where he gets his friends from. He's very attractive, and he is giving you, I've been on TV. He does look like that. And Courtney's pretty as well. Courtney, you could tell, even the coaches was talking to her about it. You can tell that she's has some insecurities, you know what I mean? Even though she's a very pretty girl, good body, looks like she comes from a great family, but you could just, tell. And I find that a running theme throughout a lot of these marriages are, will he run? Will she stay? Will they want to be here? And I mean, I totally get it, because look at what they're doing. This is so, out of the box. People typically don't marry at first sight. Even if they get married after a week, at least they knew what each other looked like. You know what I mean? So I get that, but that was kind of like the theme too. And then the coach sort of just had to, let her know, like, I could tell that that's, one of your fears or whatever. And she said yes. And it was kind of like, you have to know you're that girl, and I'm improvising, but you have to know that you're that girl, you know what I mean? And this is what you deserve, and this is who you are, and, things of that nature. So they get together. And so it's their wedding day, and, everyone's just discussing like where they are, how they're feeling about the day. His friends are talking with him. Then his dad comes in, and his dad was giving very encouraging words, and he was, tearing up. And it was a nice moment. I always like those moments. And then she was with her dad and mom, and when she's with her dad, she started, tearing up, because I guess it's so overwhelming. So with that being said, now the mother comes out. Now it's the wedding day, and Courtney's mother comes out, and somebody says, she's jacked. Because, she was giving arms, honey. Them arms are like, And so they were like, she's jacked. So she comes out, they take their seats, and everybody's ready. And so now they said, Nick, here's your bride. And he turns around, and he's like, wow. And I love that. That, to me, that would just relieve me. Just being like, ooh, yes. You know what I mean? Like, ooh, yeah, wow. So he was really excited. She was really excited. You could tell there was a little awkwardness, but I do like how they just come out and say, this is what I'm about. Because those are like the vows. The vows are like, this is what I'm about. This is what I'm about. This is what I want to bring to you. This is what you're going to bring to me. That kind of thing. And then they say, do you take each other? And they both said yes. They gave each other a kiss on the lips, and that was it. And now they're married, and now they are off to their reception. His friends were saying that even though he's been on these reality shows, and Nick was saying as well, he's like, I don't have a manager, like I work a regular job. So basically he didn't cash in on his reality show success, but he does really well for himself. But he really has pure intentions, and this is really what he wants. And I mean, he has been on other dating shows, so I'm sure, if you've been on dating shows, then chances are you do want to be with someone. I mean, this is another show, but let's hope, he's really serious about this. Now, what was funny is when they were talking about how one of the groomsmen was on RuPaul's Drag Race. He said he was on RuPaul's Drag Race, and Courtney says, oh yeah, because my family, they race cars and da-da-da. They was like, no, drag queens. That was funny, because it was like, oh, they had no idea. They were clueless. She was like, oh, okay, my bad. Like, I didn't know. But that was funny. So Nick is letting us know that his anxiety is gone. She's really excited. And that's where we leave off with them. So the next couple we have is Michelle and Cameron. Michelle is 34 years old. Cameron is 37 years old. She is a project manager, and he is a college basketball coach. He looks like he's about 7 feet tall compared to Michelle. Michelle's a little shorty doo-wop. Anyway, so they get together. They're talking about, the matchmakers are talking about, the different qualities. Now, listen, she froze her eggs because she had an issue with fibroids, I think when she was about 28 years old. And so she saved her eggs, and that's the thing to do. If you know you want children and you may have an issue, she froze her eggs. So she froze her eggs, and he has never been in a committed relationship. Is that a red flag? I don't know. That's a red flag to me. 37 and you've never been in any kind of relationship? That's kind of interesting, because see, me, that would make me have so many questions. I would have so many questions for why you have never been in a relationship. And then why would you go from never being in a relationship at all to now being married, where you're in a full commitment? Like you're in listen, you can't get no more committed than married. You know what I mean? So that's really interesting. And that seems like that's going to be somewhat of a challenge, because it's like, wait, so do you even know about compromising? Do you know about sharing? Do you know about communication? You've never been in a committed relationship. I need to know why you've never been in a committed relationship. But anyway, so now, so they tell them they have a match. Everyone's very emotional. and now is their wedding day. So on the wedding day, you have Michelle, she's with her. Now, her parents are immigrants from Vietnam. So you have her talking to her mom. They were talking about basically how her mother was like, kind of like set up, match made, by the grandmother. So they talked about that. They talked about her dad being tall, because one of the things Michelle wanted is she didn't want someone tall. Okay. So they were talking about, like how they got together, the things that brought them to this point in their life. And then Cameron is with his mother and father and a sister. And his sister was of Asian descent. It looked like she may have been adopted. But they were talking, and sharing about that. And the mother said she's ready for grandkids. Okay. Mama said, I'm ready for one of my kids to be married and give me some grandchildren. So that's where she was. So Michelle's father is camera shy. So he wrote Michelle a beautiful letter. Not everybody wants to be on television like that. Okay. Especially under these circumstances. So the father writes her a beautiful letter, beautiful letter, basically encouraging her. He's there with her, he's happy for her and things of that nature. So I thought that was very sweet. So Michelle comes in. She comes in on a horse and carriage. We love that. And now she's coming down the aisle. And Cameron turns around and sees his bride. And he's just like, wow, everybody's happy. He is, oh my gosh, the height difference is crazy. She is lower than his shoulder. So if this is his shoulder, she's like right here at his shoulder. And, they said their vows. They seemed, happy. And then they proceed to, say their vows, get married. They did kiss on the lips. And now everyone's cheering, whoop-de-whoop, and they are on their way to the reception. So now at this point, his friends are just bragging about all his accomplishments. He's done this, he's done that, he's done that, he's done that, he's done that. And she was like, well, thanks for letting me know. That makes me feel good. That makes me feel good that this is where he is. And that's where we leave off with them, okay? So our last couple is an older couple. They are Dr. Sean Best. He's 48 years old. And Nikki, she is 46. She is HR. She does HR at her job. And he is a college VP admin. Okay, so they're both, high-level people. They are both accomplished people. And you could just tell that right from the introduction. From what I can see, he's definitely an overachiever, because he was listing, honey, I've done this, I've been in the band, I did this, I did that, I got my master's, I got my doctor's. We know all the things. Because it was almost kind of like, I got to let you know, I'm qualified for this. I am qualified for this. Okay, so then we find out about her, and she is, she's an older woman. She's 46. Her parents had her as teenagers. I think her mother was 16 or 15 or 16 when she had her. And her mom are still very close. And she makes a lot of money. She makes $350,000 a year. And she needs somebody that makes $250 to $350. And the coach was like, now, girl, let me talk to you for a minute. Everybody ain't running around here with making $350,000. I'm not saying you can't find him, but everybody don't make that. He said, do you know what the average salary is? Like $64,000. And she's like, okay, well, I could at least, my absolute floor is $200,000. So we hoping, we don't know his salary yet. We don't know Sean's salary yet, but we hoping is at least $195. Okay. So anyway, but then they go back and now they're talking to him because, they're going back and forth. And he was like, at one point when I was only making $400 a week as a musician, I couldn't take care of nobody. So women have made more than me. He said, but I am in a place now where I feel like I can take care of somebody. So I was like, okay, that's good. So then now it's the wedding day. So, we find out a little bit more of what they like, the likes and the needs and the wants and things of that nature. And now it's the wedding day. And what was so lovely is that as she's getting ready with all her girlfriends and she was getting her makeup done, she gets this gift. And the gift was, he got her a beautiful card, and then he got her a pendant that, was the date of their anniversary, the date of the wedding. And so one of her girlfriends said, because I guess it was from Nourishing. She was like, yes, honey, nothing less than Nourishing. So I said, okay, we already know what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with, we're giving you bougie for days. And the friends are letting you know, that's right, because she don't take nothing less and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then him with all his accomplishments. I said, oh, Lord, I hope this don't end up being no bomb ready to explode, because I was like, the feeling I got was that it was a lot about the accomplishments. And to me, the accomplishments are nice and they add something to the marriage, but the marriage is about the two people. Now, granted, they're just meeting for the first time, but I was just getting a little bit of the accolades, and this is why I'm worthy, and this is why I'm worthy, and I have this, and I have this, and he has to make that, and I have this to do. It was a lot of that, and I'm like, okay. So anyway, so she was, on her way. She thought it was beautiful. She started crying. She was very happy. So now they're on their way to their wedding day. Wedding day's here. Sean comes out. Sean's a shorty doo-wop. He said he's only 5'6". Okay? Sean comes out. He has on a brown jacket. Interesting choice. He had his brown jacket on. He came out like the mayor. Hey, everybody. Hey, how you doing? And they're like, he was doing all of that. Which to me is like, to me, that's a little turn offy because it's just a little too much. Look at me, look at me, look at me. So he was going around and he was like, hey, to everybody. And then he says to Nikki's mother, and what should I call you? She's like, I'm Nikki's mom, I'm the bride's mom. He said, what should I call you? She said, mother-in-law. Like, could you calm down? You doing way too much already. Can you calm down? So anyway, so now, he's there and he's just, he's doing the mayor routine. He is mayored down, okay? So then after all that, he does his mayor routine and then the bride comes down and she looks beautiful. I can tell from her though, that you can tell she's one of those, she has like a type A-ness to me. And I guess, listen, she works in HR, so maybe that's just, that comes naturally to her. But I can tell that she needs to know what's going on. Okay, so what's next? So what do we do now? Hey, so what's going on now? As opposed to just being in the moment. That's what I get from her. Because when they get up to the front, most of the couples, they share their little words. Hey, my name is, hey, my name is so-and-so. And with them, it was just a lot of the awkward. It was almost kind of like she couldn't hide her feelings from her face. And he was just like, wow. I mean, he thought she was just beautiful. And she was just kind of like, okay, kind of thing. And so now it's kind of like, well, meet your bride, meet your groom. So it was very formal. I felt it was very formal the way they did it. And then it was time to start the ceremony, and this is where they leave us off, but they leave us off where it felt very, pensive, very like, I don't know about this, it's kind of like, and she could not hide her, she couldn't, and she was just like, oh, and he's like, because he's giving you white teeth, he's giving you all the things, and she was like, so it was interesting, and that's how we went off. So we did get 2 episodes this week, so I will be coming back with the next review. But that was the end of it for episode 2. So we're going to see. We're going to see how this is going to play out because none of these couples, maybe with the exception of Beljalie and Mecca, I don't know. With all the couples, I still feel a little, I'm not sure 100%. With Becca and Beljalie, I don't know. With Mecca and Beljalie, I do feel like a little more of okay, I can see this kind of working out. Because they both seem to be just, kind of goofy, go with the flowy, not too much, not too tight. So with them, I could see something. With the rest of the couples, I'm not sure. Especially with Nick and Sean. Okay, wait. Yeah, with Nikki and Sean. I'm really concerned about them. But anyway, so that was it. If you guys like this review, please hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell. Definitely check out my products. It's over my shoulder, my hair care line, and all the information is in the description. Don't forget, we are on the way to 2,000 and then on the way to 5,000 subscribers. So I'm going to need you to go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and do all the things so we can keep in touch, okay? Okay, guys, and until the next episode, peace.